Well, it was a case of huddles for Team India in the opening game. A few frowns, certainly from the skipper. Didn't always work out, but for the opposition, there were plenty of smiles. They enjoyed their time with the bat and with the ball. The saving grace for India towards the end, a great partnership between Shikhar Dhawan and Hardik Pandya. Lots to look forward to in this second ODI. My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. It's cricket time again. It's Sunday morning and it's the familiar rivals on a familiar turf. It's the SCG once again and, of course, a familiar toss, with Australia having won the toss in the second ODI and again decided to bat. So much talk about team changes. We'll come to what's happened at the moment. But first, let me welcome two gentlemen coming from Old Blighty, Michael Vaughan and Zaheer Khan. Very good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First reactions to the toss, of course. Australia winning the toss, deciding once again to bat first with that one forced change. Marcus Stoinis making way for Moses Henriques. Michael Vaughan?
Yeah, I mean, no surprise that Aaron Finch is batting again. It's been hot in Sydney. It's hot today. It worked for Australia on Friday. Slightly surprised they've gone with Moses Henriques for the replacement in Marcus Stoinis. I thought they may have gone with Cameron Green, the young Western Australian all-rounder. All the talk in Australia is these younger players, the likes of Cameron Green, Will Pucovski. I thought this may have been a perfect chance to get him in, but Henriques is on his home turf. He's a Sydney lad. He obviously captains the Sydney Sixers in the Big Bash, who won the IPL last time round. So he's a good cricketer, very experienced, but I'm just surprised they didn't fancy throwing in the young all-rounder.
Yeah, fair enough. But Zaheer Khan, first reactions to Team India. So much of our preview was about when you've been defeated comprehensively in that opening game. Do you look at changes or do you retain faith in your 11? They have retained faith.
Well, the option which we were talking about, we all were talking about in theory, it was definitely on. But in practicality, I guess that option is not there with the squad at the moment. And that is something, which they have to live with. And keeping the same 11 also kind of sends the right signal that you're showing faith in your players, the playing 11 which played in the previous one. So it's just about maintaining that confidence of the playing 11, backing them to do the job for you. And that is something which is a right move, I feel, at this stage. It's just about finding those answers within the playing 11 is what we were discussing after the previous game, and looking at that, I think we'll just have to see how this playing 11 has changed in the few hours which they had. We spoke about 36 hours in between the game, so we'll have to wait and see how the body language is, how the energy is out there on the field, and how keen they are to turn things around.
Yeah, it's also, we've just been told it's touching 40 degrees in Sydney. It's an absolute scorcher in New South Wales. Very different from where any of us are, Michael Vaughan.
Yeah, it's certainly not 40 degrees here. Yeah, you get these days, don't you, in Australia, particularly in Sydney. So it will challenge the Indian side in the field. I'm just looking for, an improvement in the mindset of the Indian fielders in particular. They've got to be a bit more aggressive with the ball in hand these first 10 overs. They've got to go and hunt out some wickets. If they allow that foundation to be set once again by Finch and David Warner, they'll be looking at a big score that they're going to have to chase. So it's about wickets. It's about being a bit aggressive in those first 10, trying to be on the front foot in the field. And I'm sure that's exactly what Virat Kohli will be telling his team.
Yeah, one is, of course, the aggression. But Zaheer Khan, in these 36 hours, a lot of talk will have been among the bowling group. And you've obviously captained the bowling group in that sense. They will have talked about those lengths and those areas. Maybe they didn't get so right in the first 10 overs.
Absolutely. I think it's about setting the tone. And since you're bowling first now, you just got to approach the game in that fashion. Early breakthroughs are going to be the key. The energy from the fielders is certainly going to help. So that is something which you should definitely see in that first hour. I think the first hour is going to be the crucial one. Yes, the first block of play, 10 overs, is going to be very vital. But at the same time, you have to then consolidate in the middle phase as well. You can easily just slack off hoping that that things will go your way. But when you're looking to turn things around, and especially when you are one down in the series, it's never an easy task. So you have to find that energy, find that that source of inspiration through and through till the game is over and you've won it and leveled the series. So that is something which we are expecting from Indian team today.
Yeah, and no slacking off for all of you out there. Remember, this is ODI number 2. You've got to make a fresh team. In case you're not aware of it, go to my11circle.com, download the app. Very, very simple. Get 11 players, pick a captain, pick a vice captain, and then, of course, train your guns on Saurav Ganguly because he's going to be playing against you. So that's the panga that you've got to take. But yes, the one utopian inclusion we were hoping from Team India is somehow a 6th bowling option. Now that we don't have a team change, gentlemen, are we perhaps looking at a Shreyas Iyer coming in with his occasional leg spinners? I'm sure he will have done a bit of that bowling in the nets because they really do need that. That's the one thing they need to correct, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to try and have as many options as you can, and the captain will want that. It may be worth just in bowling 2 or 3 overs just to allow the captain that opportunity not to have to off bowl the main 5 with just 10 apiece. It's so easy to play against a team when you know that they haven't got options because you can almost set. I was speaking about it on Friday. As a batting unit, you can almost set the play. Nothing can really surprise you because you know how a team will operate their bowling unit when they've only got 5. So it's very difficult for India because they don't have that quality all-rounder or 2 that obviously can be playing. Hardik Pandya can't bowl at this stage. He's spoken a lot about it over the last couple of days, but it may be just worth when a partnership is just developing, just to throw in Shreyas Iyer just for an over or 2, just to try and nick a 2 or 3 overs, 4 overs from him. It's not going to make a massive difference, I don't think, but it might just help them just a little bit.
Yeah, Michael's already referred to Hardik Pandya and all that he said over the last couple of days. I think it's worth us getting a little refresher course and listening to the man himself.
We have to find and maybe make. I always believe that even when I came into the circuit, I was not always the all-rounder which I wanted to be. But with time, I groomed myself and became that bowling option. I worked on my bowling. I worked on my batting. And it's always going to be difficult when you go with 5 bowlers because then if someone is having an off day, you don't have someone to fulfill. More than injury, it's about the 6 bowlers role is always about if someone is having a bad day from the 5 bowlers, they come and fill those overs so the other guy gets more cushion. I think it's going to be maybe we'll have to make, or maybe we'll have to find someone who has already played India and groom them and find a way to make them play.
I think the most refreshing part there is Hardik Pandya is well aware of the problem. We know they should be, but he's willing to talk about it. He knows he can't do it himself right now. He's building up to it. But Zaheer, he talked about grooming. He talked about looking for someone who maybe already played for India. We're just trying to put out a few options of our own and look at who could become part of this squad. And we've pulled 4 names out in Vijay Shankar, Shivam Dube, Ravichandran Ashwin, Krunal Pandya, all of whom basically can fill that all-rounders role. Zaheer, do you see any of these guys you'd love to pull into the side?
Yes, I think the discussions are already flowing. So you would expect something of this sort will happen. They'll have to look for the names which can fill in that void. First question I think they'll have to answer is, what is the primary discipline which you're looking at? Whether you want a bowling all-rounder, which is going to help the team, or you want a batting all-rounder. Now, that is something, which they'll have to answer first and then look for the options. It will just make things easier, is what I feel. 6 bowling option does help. There is no doubt about it. If currently right now you've decided, you've come up with Shreyas's name on your own right now, right? Everyone is looking at, okay, how can we create it? So Shreyas Iyer is someone who has been bowling in List A games. Maybe have a look at him, see how he goes in the match. You've seen Kedar Jadhav's emergence also in somewhat on the similar lines. He was not a regular bowler. His primary discipline was wicket keeping, but eventually he has had a good run at the international level with the the ball. So that is something you've seen in international cricket. Things work in that fashion. When you're not finding the right answer, you just try and just figure it out as you go along. So we might see that, but at the same time, I would say that the main question which they need to answer is whether you want the batting all rounder or the bowling all rounder.
Well, interesting. One of our own experts on the Hindi show, Akash Chopra, had made an observation that unlike a time when the likes of Tendulkar and Ganguly used to bowl regularly in the nets, whether or not they were planning to bowl in the game or not, they were regular net bowlers in that sense. They liked to roll their arm over, and when it came to a match, they were ready. So, Michael, is that something that maybe a mindset needs to change?
Yeah, maybe. There's so many people around the nets these days that maybe the batsmen don't have to do the bowling. That in our time, there wasn't 25 coaches with the team. There wasn't the dog throws that you see in the nets now, the bowling machines that you see. So maybe, but there are teams that do have lots of options. You look at the side that we have here in England, pretty much all the bowlers bat. I think that's one thing that India could improve is making sure that those bowlers that they do have bat a bit better. So that's a way of improving the side. I look at a lot of players in the IPL. Someone like Axar Patel, Washington Sundar. They're two players that India could have a look at. Where the next two World Cups, the T20 in India, the 50 over World Cup in India. So you're going to need more spin options. So that's a couple of players they could look at. At the minute, though, that they haven't got those options. So it's just about trying to find improvement from within. And if Shreyas Iyer can just bowl 4 or 5 overs, as we mentioned, that could help. But it's really the mainstay of improving what they had on Friday. So the bowling that they have, the 10 overs that the 5 bowlers bowled, they've just got to bowl better, be more aggressive. And obviously, over time, if those bowlers can improve their batting, again, I'll keep mentioning England, but you look at Chris Jordan can bat, Jofra Archer can bat, Adil Rashid at number 11. I think he's got 11 first-class hundreds. Tom Curran, Sam Curran, all the bowlers, can all bat. So that's one kind of pinpoint that India could really challenge those bowlers that look like the Bumrahs. He's not going to add too much, but Shami, Saini, can they improve their batting just by 10 or 15%? That will really help the team.
Yeah, just to finish up on this issue, let me put Zaheer on the spot. You asked the question, Zaheer Khan, that India needs to ask the question, is it a batting all-rounder, bowling all-rounder? Keeping things like rule changes in mind, what would your answer be if you were put on the spot? Given the current makeup of the Indian team, would you like to get in a batting all-rounder or a bowler who, as Michael Vaughan said, has really improved his batting, a bit like Zaheer Khan's batting we remember in the days?
I think batting all-rounder can do the job at the moment. When you're looking at 6 bowling options, so you're actually looking at first discipline as your batting, and then filling in with those 4-5 overs. So the answer lies in a batting all-rounder who can give you 4-5 overs. Currently, when you look at the top 5, you don't have anyone who's bowling regularly. Even though Shreyas can bowl a bit, Virat himself can bowl a bit, but he's not been bowling regularly. So you might actually see Virat as well today. Bowling, he has bowled in international games, so that is something he might look at. From current scenario, I think what Indian team needs to do is that just go with the game. Not really have a set role for the bowlers, and that's where the unpredictability will come in. You've seen Shami really bowling with the new ball well, so you can prolong with him a bit longer than usual. Don't have to use him in the back end because that has not been his real strength. So you maximize his effect by using him early on rather than leaving his overs too late. That is something they can look at. Also, if the opening partnership is happening and the batters are going strong, it's always worth trying that change of pace. By bringing someone like Chahal in, he's been bowling with the new ball. He has someone who's been regular at power play overs as well. So it's not a bad ploy to kind of drive the game rather than waiting for it. And that is something which I think I would like to see from today's game, how Virat approaches it. So you just got to stay persistent with these kind of tactics and not really think about what's going to happen in the last 5 overs or 10 overs.
Fair enough. I tried to get Zach a little more reactive on his batting. I personally was always a fan, always one who believed he should have batted higher up the order and shown us some more runs. Never forgot that partnership in Bangladesh with you and Sachin Tendulkar.
Well, if you're taking that route, then let me just accept that, I have not done justice to my batting talent.
Thank you. Finally, you said it. Yes, you heard it right here on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. It's taken a long while for him to admit it, and he has done so. Always great style, always very straight. But let's move to someone who's not necessarily always looks the part, doesn't always play that straight, but is so impactful in the opposition. Let's hear from the unorthodox Stephen Smith, and then we'll talk about him.
It might sound really funny, but it just, everything sort of just clicked into place the other day, and I was able to drive the ball where I wanted to. I could beat mid-off on the left side. I wasn't slicing the ball as much as I probably was in IPL and for a little while. So I've just found just a nice rhythm again, and I'm really pleased by that.
It's a little worrying when someone who scores piles and piles of runs says he's found his mojo. That's a little worrying, isn't it, Michael Vaughan?
It's worrying for India. We've had it against England where he comes out and speaks in this kind of positive mindset of a language, and he delivers. That's what great players can do. They realise when it's their moment. They realise when they're playing well, and they can talk about it and almost tell us all that they're going to get lots and lots of runs. So over the course of the next couple of months, with the Test series, 4 Test matches, a few T20s. His record against India is phenomenal. Just look at those numbers. An average of 84 in Test cricket, 700s. And in one-day cricket, he's got 400s in the 19. And obviously to match 550s with an average of 63. The T20s, India may have a chance. They may have a chance in T20 cricket, but in 50-over cricket, in Test match cricket, with him speaking the way that I've just heard him speak, I think we might be seeing a lot of Steve Smith over the course of the next 7 or 8 weeks.
Certainly will be, but I know I was talking up your batting right now, Zaheer, but think of yourself now more as the bowler. If you come up against someone like Steve Smith, who's fidgety, who looks as if he's not got quite the orthodox technique, how do you approach bowling against him?
Well, I think the first and foremost, you have to stop him from moving around in the crease. I think when he's moving around in the crease, that's where he's more comfortable. Because he's that sort of personality. So you have to just make sure that he's not able to do that freely, and you have to find a way of stopping him from doing that. That will be a good start, I feel. Rest of things you just have to go along with the game. But one thing with Steve Smith I've always noticed, and not sure if the bowlers are discussing about that, but he likes it when he's able to just go walk across that offside off stump and then play the balls on both sides of the wickets. So that is something will surely stop if he's not moving around. So you got to make him play in onside, which is his strength. But I think that's where you will get him to just nick one off the offside.
Yes, I hope Jasprit Bumrah and company are listening. They'll be bowling very soon. Not quite at Steve Smith, first at David Warner and Aaron Finch. And India will be hoping it's pretty soon against Stephen Smith. But when it comes to their turn with bat, and if we feel he might bowl a bit of leg spin, we've put in Shreyas Iyer as our My 11 Circle trump card. Of course, mostly for his batting, because we've seen the numbers post the Cricket World Cup of 2019, 540 runs, very decent average, picked up that 100. Never mind what happened in the first game. He's certainly a class act, and in tandem with the likes of Virat Kohli and in-form Shikhar Dhawan. And we know that he's the kind of person, Michael Vaughan, who doesn't mind a fight. He doesn't mind a good old scrap and can perform in a tough situation.
Yeah, he's a really good player, but I would have a little bit of concern with the way he got out. When Aaron Finch set that trap with the short leg was a little bit deeper. He had a catcher at 45, and the bounce did the trick. So he's going to find that again. Australia will certainly target him with lots of short stuff. When you've got an attack like Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins and co that can bowl at 90 miles an hour and deliver that bounce to pretty much on the money, you've got to have your wits about you as a batsman. So he'll know that he's getting targeted with the short stuff. he's somehow got to work a way of playing it better. Just kind of leaving the bat up there the other day when he didn't quite get out of the way, swaying or ducking, and he just kind of left the periscope in the air. It's not the way to play the short stuff. So I'm sure he'll have worked on that. He's not had a great deal of time, obviously, in between the games. But in his mind, he'll be working out what's the best way to play the short stuff, because he's going to receive a lot of it from this Australian attack.
Give us a little insight, Zaheer, onto Shreyas Iyer, the character. He, of course, now is the captain. But when you were the skipper and you saw him playing under you, is he the kind of person who'll say, listen, I didn't quite enjoy that one, let me do something about it immediately?
He's always up for a challenge, but I'm a bit curious at the moment to ask Michael as well, just in terms of my mindset. When someone like Shreyas Iyer gets out in this fashion, and the next innings, as a batter, are you just going to be focusing too much on the short ball stuff? And in the process, if the bowlers decide to really go full and get you bowled or leg before, just because you are thinking too much upstairs, can be the case, right? So as a batter, what is the right way of approaching in this kind of a scenario?
Well, everything with the bat in hand, the players who play the best generally just play on instinct and just react to the ball. If you're premeditating, particularly a short ball, if you're just premeditating that ball's going to be short all the time, well, you're absolutely right. He's going to be camped on the back foot. He's going to be looking for that kind of short of length delivery. And then all of a sudden, a Stark or a Cummins gets one full. He might not transfer his weight back into the ball. So somebody's going to be playing with an instinctive mindset. But it's his decision to decide whether he goes, right, how do I play that short ball? Here it comes. Do I take it on or do I duck and I weave? And I think, particularly in white ball cricket, his mindset has to be to look to score. And whatever the option is, he's got to be thinking, right, if it's short, he's got to get himself in a position of looking to score first and foremost. If he's doing that, he's staring at the ball. If his mindset is, oh, wait a minute, if the short ball comes, I'm going to duck and weave, it's slightly negative, and he might just take his eye off the ball just at that split second, which it requires your concentration. So I'd be saying just stare at the ball, look to score, and let your instincts take over. He's obviously received lots of short balls in his time, or he wouldn't have got to where he has done in the World Games. So just stare at the ball, look to score, and just let your instincts take over. That was the way that I always used to like to play the short stuff, is don't think too much about it. It's coming. It's definitely going to be around, but just try and play on instinct.
As a bowler, I must tell you that, I'll be tempted to just go really full, just in case if he's unaware. Because I know that, okay, if the short ball is a trouble, I can always trouble him and be my second line of attack. Particularly in the game, I hope he's staying ahead in that fashion, because that's something I'm definitely concerned about at the moment.
Yeah, the old double bluff, but that masterclass from Michael Vaughan, if only we could get it through to Shreyas Iyer in time. But I'm sure he's worked it out for himself. Bit of ducking and weaving, the kind of ducking and weaving we don't generally see when Joy Bhattacharya starts bowling his bouncers, because he tends to be a bit kind at times. Let's see his question for today. In what way was the opening test match from the 2006 South Africa tour of Sri Lanka a first in international cricket? So note that down, hashtag Cricbuzz Live, get your answers back. And if I know all our patrons, they'll all be coming in already by now. Just one more order of business is the My 11 Circle Badge of Honor, which eluded us entirely in that first game. So this time around, I've slept on it. Myself, I'm going to go first. I did horribly last time round. I was 109 runs away. So this time, I'm still going less than the 300 mark, because I feel the bowlers will have woken up by now. But I'm going 279 for Australia batting first.
That's a very
Michael, are you still going over 300?
Yeah, I'm going 346.
Oh, what did I say? Okay, Zach.
Okay, then I'm going 295 in that case.
Fair enough. 270, 279, 290s, and 340. Well, Michael Vaughan is really putting his weight behind the Australian batsman. Could we have another massacre, or can India come invigorated and put in a huge performance in the second one-day international? It's Sydney all over again. It's the same opponents, and it's going to be the same team who are going to come to you in the 15th over on Cricbuzz Combox, in the 35th again, and then in the mid-show, all of us will be back to wrap the innings up. My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you soon.